Hi y'all, you're watching the Big Jim Country Boy YouTube channel. Yeehaw!
How prepared are you if disaster strikes today? This is not a question to instill fear, but rather to ignite a spark of awareness within you. It's a call to readiness, an invitation to be proactive. Life, as we all know, is full of surprises, some pleasant, others not so much. We can't predict everything that will happen to us, but we can certainly prepare for those unexpected moments that threaten to upend our lives. Disasters don't send an RSVP. They just show up uninvited, turning everything upside down. It could be a natural disaster, such as a hurricane, flood, or earthquake, or even a man-made catastrophe like a war or a pandemic. How we respond to these situations can greatly influence our survival and recovery. Preparedness, therefore, is not an option. It's a necessity. It's the difference between being a helpless victim and a resilient survivor. It's about being proactive rather than reactive. Being prepared doesn't mean living in constant fear or expecting the worst at every turn. Instead, it's about acknowledging that life can be unpredictable and taking steps to ensure that we're ready to face whatever comes our way. It's about having a plan, having the necessary supplies, and having the knowledge to navigate through challenging times. It's easy to fall into the trap of panic buying when a crisis hits. But let's be clear, preparedness is not about panic buying. It's not about rushing to the store at the last minute to hoard supplies. Rather, it's a strategic approach that involves planning and stocking up on essentials over time. It's a lifestyle choice that promotes self-reliance and resilience. So, let's embark on this journey of preparedness together. Let's learn how to be proactive, how to plan, and how to equip ourselves with the necessary tools and knowledge to face any disaster head-on. Because remember, preparedness is not about panic buying, but about strategic planning and stocking up on essentials over time. But what does it mean to be prepared? Let's delve into the concept of prepping. A prepper, at its core, is someone who equips themselves for the unexpected, who readies for any potential disaster, catastrophe, or cataclysm. This is not a spur-of-the-moment rush, but a thoughtful, measured approach to life's uncertainties. Prepping is about more than just stocking a pantry. It involves a keen understanding of needs, a comprehensive assessment of risks, and a well-laid plan to mitigate them. It's about gathering materials, the essentials that would sustain life when the conveniences we often take for granted are stripped away. But it goes beyond materials. Prepping also involves making plans, detailed strategies to survive and thrive in the face of major disruptions. These disruptions can come in many forms: natural disasters, economic collapses, even societal breakdowns. The nature of the disaster is less important than the readiness for it. That's the heart of prepping. It's not about fear, but about resilience. Not about paranoia, but about empowerment. In essence, being a prepper is about being proactive and thinking ahead. It's about embracing the wisdom in the old adage, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So, are you ready to start your prepping journey? So, what are the essentials that one needs to stock up on? A thought-provoking question indeed. First, let's talk about water. It's no secret that water is the elixir of life. In a survival situation, the significance of water reserves cannot be overstated. Depending on the climate, a person can only survive a few days without water. So, it's a good idea to have a substantial quantity of clean, drinkable water stored away. If that's not possible, consider investing in water purification tablets or filters. Next up is emergency food. This could be canned goods, freeze-dried meals, or non-perishables like rice and pasta. Remember, the key is to opt for foods that are long-lasting and nutrient-dense. It's also worth noting that a manual can opener is a must if you're stocking up on canned goods. A well-stocked first aid kit is another essential. This should include basics like bandages, antiseptics, pain relievers, and any necessary prescription medications. In a crisis, having the ability to treat minor injuries can be a lifesaver. Hygiene products and sanitation supplies are often overlooked, but they're crucial for maintaining health and preventing disease. This could include items like soap, toothpaste, toilet paper, and trash bags. Thermal clothing is another must-have, especially if you live in a colder climate. Hypothermia can set in quickly when temperatures drop, so be sure to have warm clothing and blankets on hand. Lastly, don't forget about manual tools. In a world where we're used to everything being powered by electricity, it's easy to forget how handy a good old-fashioned manual tool can be. Think along the lines of a hand crank radio, a manual can opener, or a multi-tool. These are just a few of the key essentials that everyone should have stocked up. The specifics will vary depending on your personal needs and circumstances, but the goal is the same: to be prepared for whatever life may throw at you. Having these essentials at your disposal can make the difference between survival and disaster. Being prepared is not just about having supplies, but also about being ready wherever you are. Let's start with your home base. Picture this: a situation arises where you're required to be self-reliant for 2 weeks. Are you prepared? It's not about transforming your home into a fortress, but about ensuring that you have the essentials to sustain you and your family. Think about your water and food supplies. Do you have enough to last 2 weeks? What about first aid kits, hygiene products, and sanitation supplies? It's also important to consider thermal clothing, especially if you're in a colder climate, as well as manual tools that can come in handy in various situations. And remember, a well-prepared home isn't just about what's inside. Consider how you can use your outdoor space. Can you set up a rainwater collection system or a small vegetable garden? These additions can provide an extra layer of security and self-reliance. Now, let's move away from home. What if an emergency happens while you're out and about? This is where get-home bags and everyday carry items come into play. A get-home bag is a small portable kit that you keep in your car or at your workplace, filled with essentials that can help you get back to your home base in an emergency. This could include food, water, a first aid kit, a flashlight, a multi-tool, and even a change of clothes. Your everyday carry, on the other hand, is what you have on your person at all times. This could be as simple as a pocket knife, a small flashlight, or a fire starter. It's about having those crucial items that can help you in a pinch, no matter where you are. And remember, preparation is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process that evolves with your needs and circumstances. So keep assessing and reassessing your preparedness plan. Being prepared means being ready, whether you're at home or on the go. In addition to supplies, survival skills are an essential part of being prepared. One of the most crucial survival skills is the ability to start a fire. Fire not only provides warmth and a way to cook food, but it also serves as a signal for help. Knowing how to start a fire without matches or a lighter is an invaluable skill. It might seem daunting at first, but with practice, anyone can master this skill. Next, we have shelter building. This is not just about creating a comfortable place to sleep. A proper shelter can protect you from harsh weather conditions, wild animals, and can also help regulate body temperature. Knowing how to use natural resources around you to build a shelter can mean the difference between a rough night outdoors and a potential life-threatening situation. Water is the essence of life. Hence, knowing how to find and purify water is another fundamental survival skill. Look for signs of water in nature, such as green vegetation, swarming insects, or valleys where water may collect. Once found, it's critical to purify it. This could be through boiling, using purification tablets, or even a homemade filter. Finally, let's talk about food. In a survival scenario, grocery stores are not an option. Being able to identify edible plants and wildlife can keep you nourished and energized. Familiarize yourself with common edible plants in your area and learn basic hunting or trapping skills. Remember, some plants that look harmless can be poisonous, so it's vital to know what you're consuming. In conclusion, while having stocked supplies is a big part of being a prepper, it's the skills that you can't put in a backpack that often become the most valuable. So take the time to learn and practice these skills. They will not only make you more confident in a survival situation, but could also save your life. These skills can be life-saving when you're in a survival situation. A fundamental part of prepping is planning for high-priority threats. It's not just about having the right gear or a stockpile of supplies, it's about knowing what to do when a crisis hits. Let's start with communication. In an emergency, normal channels of communication might be compromised. You may not be able to rely on your mobile phone or the internet, so it's crucial to have a plan. Consider investing in a battery-operated or hand-crank radio to receive updates and important information. Establishing a communication plan with your loved ones is also essential. Decide on a meeting point and an alternative one, in case the first is unsafe or unreachable. Next, let's talk about safe locations. Your home is your first line of defense, but what if it becomes unsafe? You need to identify alternate safe locations. These could be local community centers, a relative's house, or even a designated area in the wilderness. It's also worth researching local disaster plans and evacuation routes. Remember, safety isn't just about finding a place to hide, but knowing how to get there. Finally, we need to discuss ways to avoid threats. A large part of this is awareness. Stay informed about potential risks in your area, such as severe weather patterns, local crime rates, or political unrest. Learn to recognize signs of danger and have a plan to avoid or mitigate them. This could mean anything from securing your home against intruders to knowing when it's time to evacuate due to an impending storm. Remember, having a plan, even a simple one, is better than having no plan at all. In the face of a crisis, a well-thought-out strategy could be the difference between chaos and survival. So take the time now to plan for high-priority threats, because when disaster strikes, it's too late to start planning. Preparedness is a family affair, and it's important to involve everyone in the discussions. Just as a team is only as strong as its weakest member, a family's survival plan is only as effective as its least informed member. This is why it's essential to sit down with your family and discuss your plans for potential disasters, emergencies, and survival scenarios. Think of this as a bonding experience rather than a somber affair. It's about ensuring that everyone you love understands what to do when the unexpected happens. It's about making sure that everyone in the family knows where the emergency supplies are stored, how to use them, and when it's appropriate to do so. But it's more than just about knowledge. It's also about fostering a sense of responsibility and teamwork. When everyone knows their role in an emergency, it can help to reduce panic and confusion. And this can make a big difference in a high-stress situation. Remember, the goal isn't to scare your family, but to empower them. Use this opportunity to teach your children about the importance of preparedness and how they can contribute to the family's safety. Consider creating a family emergency plan that details what each family member should do in different scenarios. This plan could include evacuation routes, emergency contacts, meeting points, and other important instructions. Having a written plan can help to solidify these protocols in everyone's minds. And lastly, don't forget to revisit these discussions from time to time. As circumstances change, so too should your plans. Regular check-ins can ensure that everyone stays up to date and that the family remains ready for whatever comes your way. When everyone in the family is on the same page, it's easier to handle emergencies. Let's recap what we've covered today. We started with the basic understanding of what prepping is, a proactive approach to being prepared for emergencies, disasters, or any unforeseen circumstances. It's not about panic buying, but rather about steady and sensible accumulation of essentials over time. We discussed the importance of stocking up on essentials. This includes water reserves, emergency food, first aid kits, hygiene products, sanitation supplies, thermal clothing, and manual tools. Each item playing a vital role in ensuring survival and comfort during challenging times. Next, we focused on home and away preparations. At home, the goal is to be self-reliant for at least 2 weeks. This involves having a well-stocked pantry, secure shelter, and access to clean water. Away from home, it's about having get-home bags and everyday carry items to help you reach a safe location. We then delved into the world of survival skills. These skills, such as starting a fire, building a shelter, finding and purifying water, and identifying edible plants and wildlife, can be lifesavers in dire situations. They are essential components in the prepper's toolkit. Planning for threats was our next topic. This means assessing potential risks, knowing how to communicate during a crisis, identifying safe locations, and strategizing ways to avoid threats. It's about being one step ahead of the game. Lastly, we talked about the significance of family discussions. It's crucial for each family member to understand the plans for disasters, emergencies, and survival scenarios. Knowledge is power, and sharing this knowledge ensures that everyone is on the same page. Remember, being a prepper is about being proactive and prepared. It's not about panic, but about planning. So start your prepping journey today and be ready for whatever life throws your way.